welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be here as your broadcast engineer. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely day. I am here with the wonderful Nick Hunter, who is the premier UI UX designer for FileMaker. If you got, you want to know about UI UX design in general, period, for your apps, Nick is one of the best guys, I think, for the job. Real quick, let's talk about the future live stream training schedule, since we do this 5 days a week. We have today is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for UI UX for advanced developers. We're working on layouts for this week. Friday is going to be an open Claris platform FileMaker Q&A. If you got questions, please drop by. Monday will be okay. So next week will be really interesting. Nick will be kind of split up. Monday will be UI UX for advanced developers, which will be sort functions. And then Tuesday, we'll do pivot tables with FileMaker with Calvin Mosman. And then Wednesday and Thursday will be Nick Nays again. So we kind of split things up.
Yeah, today I'm going to.
I think we're good. I can hand it over to you, Nick. What are we
Okay,
doing
yeah,
today?
thank you. Yes, so today we do how we can get good looking layout, right? So this is a vast, wild question, right? It's something that many people have a problem with because they don't know where to start, right? So because we in the FileMaker community, we lack information about the design rules and the design guidelines. We lack information because Claris not clear on this. They never did. They never help us in the first place, right? They never help their developers to get good design. And they never came with they did at the time when I was there. They took care of this a little bit, but they dropped the ball, and they're because it's complicated. You need to learn things. So when we ask people to learn, immediately we lost 70% of people. So that's why we try, and I try personally to educate as much as possible without people to learn anything, right? So I'm coming with the rules that applies to us, because the rules of design are so vast, so big, so huge, but 70% of them it doesn't apply to FileMaker. So when you see something, how you can make it for FileMaker, that's my role. That's what I'm doing. I'm bringing what in FileMaker what we need, right? And what I think is the best. So that my taste, because design is, it's I don't have the final word on this. I'm following the latest guidelines. They're from Apple, and I'm learning. I'm reading and watching other webinars talking about design, and so to educate myself. And then I come and say, hey, this is good for FileMaker, this is not good, because you can use what we call objects and workflows. You can make them, we can implement them in FileMaker, but they need to work 100%. They need to behave perfectly. If they don't behave perfectly, drop them. If you get something approximately, if you get something that look like but doesn't behave well, right? Drop it. It won't be good to use, right? So that's why it's important to do that. So I share my screen. Can you switch to my screen? So here we have two examples. Okay, so I want to show you the evolution, because everything is an evolution. In life, it's an evolution. Life is an evolution, right? So and we never done it. This design in 2 years, 3 years, I will drop it, because we will have something new and something better, I hope, right? So I want to show you the kind of a evolution of what happened. So we start with this, right? So that was the first, and then we went to this. So from this one, right? Then we start this one, but this is the same, right? No, it's not the same. What the difference between those two? I don't see any. Maybe I open this. Oh, yeah, I open the same thing. Okay. So I need to go layout mode. So we have this one, and then we had this one, right? So we have this one, and then we had, let me open the two, a lot of window open. So we have this one. So this is the evolution. So we start with this. That was a huge enhancement of what we had before. That was the first FileMaker 12 with the new design surface, for the veteran of our audience. We are, we had a huge improvements in design when we got FileMaker 12. So that was with FileMaker 12. And then with FileMaker 14, we came with this one, right? So pretty much that was a more modern, more polished version of what we already had, right? On the FileMaker 11, let's say. This one is the same with the adjunction of the master detail, the list on the side. And this one was the first attempt of using the column or building of layouts, right? So you can see the evolution. That was everything horizontal, a bar, everything was horizontal. Okay. And we added this. So here you can see what is very, very shocking to our, let's say, a guy who knows design, is that we have two orientation mixed here. We have the verticality here on this side mixed with horizontality here. So, and that makes kind of a conflict, visual conflict. And then we had this that is column, right? It looks better because it looks less. So to read this, it's easier than to read this. This. So we have a lot of blocks, right? We have a lot of, okay. So we have a lot of blocks to read. It's not aligned. This visually is not aligned. We have this bar in the middle that is completely, separating the two visually. And we have a lot of separation, boom, 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 like this. Okay. So that was the evolution. And we land, right, to this, pretty much, right? So we landed to this. We landed to this. So this one and this one are the same layout. You have the same fields, right? And we have the same functions. We didn't drop one function, and we added some, but we have all the same, right? This one and this one has the same. So the first thing you need to learn with FileMaker is to avoid with design is to learn how to drop what's not necessary. So and that's the big problem. Remove what I don't need to see, right? What's not necessary, and keep only what makes sense and what can give benefits. If you don't have a benefits, just drop it. Okay. So here we can see we had a lot of things here. We have a lot of things drained in the middle. We have this. We have a lot of distraction here, right? So in there, we have a lot of buttons, you know, button, all those buttons here, right? They are distracting, right? And they make the thing, you know, difficult to read and to understand. Okay. So everything on the layout here, what needs to have, it needs to tell a story, right? So first we need to have a comprehensive kind of a hierarchy on the layouts. Here we don't know pretty much what's going on. So yeah, we have a sense that this is the main navigation. Let's get rid of this. This is the main navigation. So we have account, contact, estimate, invoice, project, product. But here the problem on those. So let's start with this. The problem of this is this. What about adding stuff? What about adding preferences? What about, you know, adding all of those things, you know? I don't know, expenses. What about adding staff assets? Okay, staff habits, assets. Oh, what's happened to me? What about timesheets? Okay. So that's the first problem we had. Okay. We have a lot of things here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. There's a lot of things to read. Right? Here, it's more comprehensible. And I didn't put everything. So staff expenses, I don't have products. You have products, invoices, estimate, contact, home. So I have everything. Okay. So I have the same here and the same here. Right? So the first issue we have here is that we have a lot of things on this to read, you know, to digest, right? So, and we don't need that because we are not constantly navigating. We are not constantly navigating. It's you know, we're not constantly going one layout to another. We're not doing that all the time, right? So what we need to do for the navigation, right, is to make it smartly. And I'm going to show you right now, right? The first is to remove, when you need to remove something, you need to use kind of a good common sense to, you know, to replace what you remove. For example, here, I have a good example. Okay, I am here in the account, no, in the contact. So here, I have a contact, and I have a company here, right? So I'm in the detail. I'm the contact detail. So that is pretty much we know where we are in the details, right? Why I know that? Because on the top of the screen, I have these selected details, right? And I have the list, the email menu, map, follow-up. Okay. But I'm still in contact, right? I'm still contact. So, but here I have a company. So let's analyze this button here for a minute, right? So this, we have a lot of things going on there. And I showed that last week already, but I'm going to make it more detailed here. We need to navigate, okay? We need to navigate. Sometimes we need to navigate. For example, here, I need to go to the company. For example, I want to see that company, right? So I click here and I'm going to the company, right? So, you know, I was there, right? I was here, and I want to go to that company. So I don't need to go there, right? I don't. I have all the tools I need in the layout. Here, this is the contact. I was there, company there, company there. I don't need to have I don't need to go to the navigation. I could have done this, that's the same, right? But I don't need, because here I have something obvious. It's obvious, it's visually obvious that this information here, when I click here, I'm going somewhere. This here, so when you want to make a good looking layout, everything you put need to have a sense. They need to have a good sense, and they need to be useful to something. Don't put something if it doesn't have a reason. Okay. Here, for example, if I put, let's put our account. Let's go to the all layouts in the contacts. Let's go to this one. So here we can see we have a mess. It's a mess, right? It's a big mess. We have a lot of things going on here. It's a big mess. Where to go? Where to go? Here, the magnifier, which is, yeah, it's okay, but it's not. It's searching an account, yes, but it's not. It's not the finality. I'm not searching an account here. I don't want to search an account. I want to add an account. I want to attach an account, not search. So that was a mistake. This icon was a mistake because it's not what I'm doing. I'm not searching an account. I'm not. I want to pick an account, not search an account. I want to pick, because I can pick an account without searching. Proof of it. I click here. I didn't search anything. I want test 4. I didn't search it. It was there. So searching is a secondary event, but it's not the finality of the button. The finality of button is not searching. The finality of button is to replace test by something else. But here, there's too many things. So you need to choose your battle. So here we have this here that supposedly says go somewhere. But how we can know that? How you know that? You know, it's not the common guidelines and rules. It's not. It is not. So, I took my day off for a weekend, and I came with something different. So first of all, when I said you need to pick up your battle, if I want to replace something, first of all, I get rid of it. So now, when I get rid, and the button was obvious, but it wasn't a trash. So let me do it again. It wasn't a trash, because the trash has a meaning. The trash is gone. The trash means I'm going to get rid of Richard Carlton Consulting, but it's not what I'm doing. I am removing. So we need to pick up an icon that makes sense of removing, but it's not trashing. So I'm removing this. I want to remove and replace. If I click here, I go to Richard Carlton Consulting accounts. If I click here, I get rid of it, right? And now my button says, obvious, I'm going to assign a company. This is not assign a company. This is search accounts. So here we have a very difficult understanding, kind of a message. Search accounts in a company field, AKA accounts, right? So like I said, we need to pick up the battle. Too many things here. So here we have assigned company, right? So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here to assign a company. Now, if I'm searching, that's something else. That's a secondary action that is not my primary, it is not the purpose of the button. It's not to search, it's to assign. So now I have this sense, okay, I can click and boom. So we have something clear. We got rid of the unnecessary, and we add a lot of clarity that we didn't have here. Okay. So that's the first thing that I want to tell you. It's removing what's not necessary. It's important. It's very important, right? Because otherwise, it's here. That was a very great example of complexity and we have a lot of messaging, but it has a reason. It has a reason. First, I tell you something. Doing something the right way costs more than doing something the wrong way. It costs more because you need to build something like this, right? It's not very complicated. It is not. But it takes more time than just doing this, right? So, but advantage of this construction, right, is that it's easy reusable, right? Because you can copy this, paste it, you have it, right? And then it's easy to rebuild and to repurpose, okay? So I can show you right now how to repurpose this, okay? So right quick, I'm going to do that very fast. I'm going to show you how we do that. So we paste this here. Let me put that blank. And do I have the ones? So this is easy. Let's say I want to put designers, for example. So I'm renaming these designers. That's it. Okay. Here we have multiple objects. We have multiple objects, but I don't want to misalign because everything built. I don't want to break this. So I'm going to hide objects. I'm going to hide the object I don't need right now. Okay. So for example, here, I need this object. I want to repurpose this object, right? So let's say I have a field. For example, I have the field designer name. Okay, so I'm going to this, and I'm looking for the designer name, and I merge the field. It's merge the field. Merge the field. Then I cut this. I double click here. This is the button. This is a button. So I just paste this. So now I have the designer name, right? And here we have badges. First, we have a T, that means we have a tooltip. And then we have our, what's the name? Our hidden state here on that button. So let's take care of the tooltip. So we have a tooltip here, right? And, something, and we can say, go to designer, okay? So I have a new tooltip here, go to designer. And we have a needed object, a hidden object condition, and it's okay if it's empty, designer, or is I don't, to hide. So I took care of that button, and because it's a button, then you have the go to records, This is the button that goes. This is the button that shows when you already have somebody. We can hide this, and then we have the other button, right? That says assign a company. I want to say assign a designer. And you attach your scripts that do the designer thing. And you say not is empty, the designer name. So we have two hidden state here. We have when it is empty, hide this one. And when it's not empty, hide this one. So either way, only one will be displayed. So this is how you rebuild, you repurpose something. Okay. So it's not that complicated, right? And you didn't break anything, and you can copy and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate, all the way. And you can put all the things you want. And we use always the same build, the same kind of construction, always. Okay. So that was the explanation on this button here, right? Okay. So we were on the contacts. Okay. So this button here. So now we have other, what is important in the layouts to be, let's take this one because it's better. I have a lot of things here. We have a lot of information. But it doesn't look busy. It doesn't look like this. Not this one. It doesn't look like this. We go. Okay. Right, like this. Okay, like this. Look all what we have. It's incredible. When I'm seeing this and say, wow, and I build it. So it's not something, we need to make sure, we can admit that when we do things that are not the best, right? And we did evolution. It's an evolution, right? So, and in France, we used to say, oh, Paris, we didn't make Paris in 2 days, right? So in 1 day. So that's the same thing. So it's, it takes time to evolve, and it takes money, it takes time and money to build things. So that was the first reason. The first reason sometimes is just money. But yes, here we have pretty much the same amount of information, even more, right? But it doesn't look busy. And we have a lot of more information. So the most important that you need to know, that you need to keep in mind, it's the real estate. Or let me explain. You don't want, when you have an apartment it's less expensive than a townhouse. A townhouse is less expensive than an individual single family home, and a single family home is less expensive than a mansion, and the mansion is less expensive than a domain. And what makes the difference between all of those type of real estate? What makes the difference between those type of real estate? It's the space between another house. It's the space between your neighbors. An apartment, you are living with your neighbor. Or a townhouse, okay, you're living next to your neighbor, And there are single family, you're living a little bit further than your neighbor, etc., etc. So the distance between your neighbor is what makes the house more expensive. So yeah, it's a figure of speech, okay, but it is, right? And you have other things that can make the house, more expensive. But for the same type of for the same surface and the same type of luxury, okay, quality, let's say. What makes the difference is this. In design is exactly the same, right? What will make the difference? It's the space between your neighbors, the neighbors. Okay. We discovered, with time, that it is necessary to put space between objects, and we have a minimum. The human eyes require minimum space between objects to feel comfortable, right? So if I go here and I just duplicate this layout, and I'm going to mess up a little bit. So what happened, right? For example, so I'm going to get rid of it. What happened if I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. So I'm going to make sure, right? So what happened if I'm doing this? So I'm asking you, okay, which one is the most comfortable to read? This one or this one? Which one is the most comfortable to read, right? So it's something is not comfortable here, right? It's not, and we build, and I can put a little bit more because here I'm gentle with myself, okay, like this. So what makes, okay, yeah, you have more thing, you can put more thing, yeah, that's true. You can display more, but more is not better. More is not, doesn't mean better. And most of the time, less is better. You need to show less and better than trying to show more. In that case, if you want to show more, go table view. Okay, you have a table view, but here is not the purpose. Okay, because this here, right? It's something that I want the comfort of reading and not the browsing. So let me explain. When you build a layout, okay, layouts have more purpose, a different purpose. For example, here, I want to browse. So let's say I want to browse. So, I want to browse many like records, right? I want to browse many records. This is the best view because you can browse. It's browsing. So that means I'm not going to read the information, just want to check if I have a problem. For example, I want to check the numbers here, or I want to make sure, what I mean? So I can sort this like this and see, okay, I have Oklahoma, Arizona, Idaho, Illinois. So okay, I can browse. I browse, I browse like this. I scroll up and down. I'm not going to read. I just my hours. I say, okay, active, disregards, inactive. So you see, I'm browsing. This is a good view. For browsing like this view is not the best. I don't want to browse here. I want to read. I want to say, oh, okay, oh, I need oh, Matthews is there. Or I said, oh, yeah, Theodore is there. And this is his phone number. Oh, let's call him, So take your phone number, you take your phone, and you have your number, right? And you can dial it. So you want to read. This is not the best for that. This is the best for that. Okay. So you want to feel comfortable, and you use this view when you have the control on the number of records. Another thing that is very important, the number is driving the design. More the number, different the design. Less the number, different design. You know, when you have few, you have this design here. When you have a lot, this design better. Same for those buttons, for example. Here I have a lot of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Can I do this with this type of construction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that comfortable? No, it is not. It is comfortable when you have few, right? When you have few. When you have a lot, right? You, what's the name? You organize this differently. When you have a lot, you have this, right? When you have a lot, okay, like this, I have 6. But if I have 2,000, this is not at all comfortable, right? So let's have a test here. Let's say I have 1,000 contacts, right? So let's do, you know, I'm going there. I don't know if I have a contact name. Yeah, I have all the contact names here, but I want to create one. Okay. Contact names, and I'm going to contact G05, and I want all the name, name full. Okay. So now I'm asking you, is this comfortable? Contact names. If this comfortable. Is this comfortable? You know, it is not. It's not comfortable at all. And can we imagine 1,000 with this construction? 1,000 buttons like this, how I'm doing it, right? And it could be 2,000, it could be 3,000 or 200 or 30. It's completely depends. It's not depending. I don't have control, right? I don't. Here I have a control. I decide as a developer that I have free choice. Active, inactive, disregard. This is my choice. If my customer says, oh, I have 10 status, okay, I'll switch to that. I don't use this. I will switch to that. And if he says, no, Nick, I have thousands status, right? Oh, in that case, I'm switching to that. Right? So for each type of situation, we have a different type of design. It is the, I got rid of the list here, but I can put it back. Let's put it back here. What's more comfortable, this or this? So now, also, what is important, right, is when, tomorrow and the day after, I'm going to go more in detail, right? So there, you have, it's not only how it looks, but it's also how it behaves, right? Because here, let's say I have this customer here, let's say I have a new customer, okay, a new account. Okay, so I have a new account, right? And I want to add contacts. So the assumption here is I'm not going to add one contact. I'm going to add multiple. That's why we said, add contact, the S, because I'm not going to add a contact. I'm going to add contacts. So I click here, and then I have this, right? So because I'm going to add more contact, many contacts, and I can say, oh, I want this guy, I want this guy, this guy, this guy. I can search, for a guy here. I want this guy here, and I want this guy here, right? So I have 6 contacts selected. Always, when you have a loss of visual contact like this, I selected somebody, and then I'm not showing. I have the possibility of showing somebody else, So I'm losing the visual, but I have 6 selected. 6. So what you do, you say, okay, show me the selection only. So you see, good looking is also going with good behaving. Okay? So and all of this is possible. All of this is possible. And I'm saying that many times. It's possible because I have extracted the attention of the user to something else. Here we are 100% focusing on adding contacts. It's all about adding contacts, selecting contacts, looking for contacts, searching for contacts. It's all about this and nothing else. I cannot go outside of this, right? I have no other way, or I have no other thing to do this. So this is why it's looking good, and this is why it's behaving good to also, because I took all the pieces I need, all the tools I need, all the pieces I need, and I put that on my table, and I'm working and I'm concentrating on this only until everything done, and I'm okay to validate this. Okay? So I can click and I validate, and boom. Now I have all my stuff back. But while I was doing this, I extracted myself. So don't try to add a plus button here, add. It doesn't make any sense, because you are drowning your feature in the middle of many other features, and you have and it looks busy, it looks complicated, it looks, So this is a good transition for me to show you that here in this list here, we got rid of the unnecessary thing. What is unnecessary? What unnecessary is to tell the people what it is. When you see an iPhone, how you know it's an iPhone, and why you know it's not a Samsung and stuff like that. Why? Because you have, an Apple logo. That's it. You don't have a label telling this is an iPhone. No, you see the logo, and boom, it's an iPhone, right? So you need to use the same type of thinking, right? So we have habits of seeing things, and we are educated, right? And we can recognize things. We can recognize things. So, but to recognize something, we need to be educated. The best way is to use the common kind of the common how can I express that? You know, the common social, you know, thing that we see all the time, that we know since, you know, since kids, to recognize, you know, their how we know how we call that, Marge, you can help me, something that is used on all their the society, right? Something
Standardized?
Standardized, you know, thing we know.
Expectations?
Yeah, this thing we educated, you know. So, for example, you know, and sometime, what it tells itself what it is. For example, presidents, what can be? Officer, president, general, right? Padawan, okay, you need to know Star Wars for that. But I mean, it tells itself what it is, right? Obviously, it's a position, right? It's a job position, it's a title, president, officer, general. It's a title. It's not the name of the grandmother of the guy. So we don't need to tell the people president what it is, right? And next to it, with parentheses, we have another word saying, okay, or accounting, tech support, human resources. So what can be? What accounting can be? What I can, you know, can be the city where the guy is living, or can be his address. Where do you living? Oh, I'm living in accounting. Oh, no, I'm living in human resources. No, right? It's not an address. Human resources is obviously a department. Tech support, accounting. And most of the time is when you see that, when you see a list, right? You see, okay, oh, finance, quality assurance, asset management, accounting, human resources, legal department. Okay, I know. Payroll, okay, that's a department. That's a department. And the guy is an employee in, you know, or is the president of the department of the quality assurance, for example, you know, or manager of the asset management. So, you know, how you present the thing tells you what it is. We don't need a freaking label. We don't need to say to people, this is the job title, this is the departments. And obviously, we don't need to know that this is, you know, this is a name. So we have a way, so we are educated that, especially in the US, but it depends the countries, okay? So this is adaptable. You need to adapt this to your country. You need to adapt to your common, you know, what's the name? You know, oh, there's a name for that. I have it on my tongue. I don't know. So about comma space Tucker, that is the first name, that's the last name. We know that. You know, we educated with this. You know, we know Ryan Alvarez Smith, and we know Winfred Andrews, and we know Laura Alvarez. We know that. So why we do this? Because when you sort by alphabetically, you don't want to be big, to be the B, starting with B, being before the being before the A. You understand? Because this is the first name, so you want to sort by last name. So you said last name are all that the A's and all that the B's, and then you have the C's, etc. So you want to start with the last name, and then you have the last name. Last name, first name. So that's what you want. Okay. So this, we don't need to put last name first. We don't need. And this is obviously is not the recipe of the cookie of grandma. It's obvious. We don't need a label. We don't need a label. This is talking to any people in America. Is going to talk. You know, number. You know, street number, street name, city, states, zip code. It's you know, and the phone number. It's obvious. This is not the mensuration of the guy. No, it's not. That is not his weight. This is not his age. We know what it is. The weight is the weight is presented, area code and phone number. Okay, so that for any American is going to talk. Okay, so we don't need labels because we present the thing the right way. Right? We present the things the right way, and this is why it is important how you present the thing, how you expose your data is going to talk a lot, right? Then what very important, right, is to use things with multiple purposes. For example, okay, so before I go there, let me tell you something else. Where you put the thing is even more important to how you put the thing and where to put the thing, right? So you don't you need to organize your thing to make sense where to put things, right? And the analogy with the with the kitchen is important, right? If I go to your kitchen and I'm looking for a knife, I'm going to look for a drawer cabinet, and I'm going to open the first drawer. 99% chance of finding a knife there. Okay, so because it's in our culture is like this. Oh, that's what I was, to use the word, the culture, our culture. Okay, we have the culture. So how you present the thing is very important. Where you put things, right? For example, here, my add contacts has two meanings, right? First of all, okay, I have this button here that says this is selected, so I am pretty much in contacts, and then estimate. But here, this add contacts buttons tells me that this list is obviously a list of contacts. Obviously, it tells me this. It's a list of contacts. So I don't need to put something like this. Where's my layout that I duplicate? I duplicate the layout somewhere, but it's okay. Oh, it was there. I don't need to do something like this. So, yeah. To do something like this, I don't need a title, right? I don't need this. I don't need this. Add, I don't need this complexity. I don't need this list of contacts. I don't need this button here. Is telling me is doing the job. Is doing the job of saying that this is a list of contacts. We don't need labels because it's obvious what I'm doing here. Right? When it's not obvious, right? Sometimes it happens that it could be not obvious. So you have this treatment here that I like, because it's friendly, right? It doesn't, because I have a few things, so I don't have a lot of things. So we can do labels that way. We can do labels that way, right? Or like this. Sometimes you can have a mix, So I'm showing, like this, by John Smith, right? By Nick Hunter. So it tells you what it is. The invoice has been created by Nick Hunter, right? With this number. This is the invoice number. Then I have the notes, the status, paid. Okay. But we can enhance this very easily. I have a new way to do that. How we can get rid of this, and that's why I'm taking this example at the end. How to get rid of things, right? So, but before, here we have a date, right? But here we have two totals, right? We have the first total here and another one due in red. So you see, I'm using labels to my advantage, right? But I also use color codes. Due means due, due is you need to call the guy and and ask him why he's not paid, right? The total is blue because I want the total to stand out, right? And here I'm repeating the color code here, right? Amount due, red, and blue, the total. But here we can even do better. We can even do better. Okay. I put the date before because it was like this before, but normally I'm not doing this. I'm putting that before, right? And then I'm putting the dates. I typically do this. Why? I will explain why. I will explain why. So I'm putting this here, and I'm going to move this here. So why I'm doing this? I want to get rid of this totally. And I love getting rid of this, but I'm not really getting rid of this. I'm not really. I use this, right? And this is why I'm using that kind of presentation, because it's a design, it's a construction of multiple pieces together, and then you have a nice object, or you have a nice home, a nice building, or a nice whatever, a nice car. Right? It's a multiple. It's an assembly of multiple things. So here I have a design that is a multiple of an assembly. So I'm copying this, and here I'm double click here. So first I know this is 13 of the width is 13. So I need this. I need to see this because this will move. I'm going to paste this here, remove the what's the name? The style, and click again. So now this is 79. I put it back to 13. This here is 47/8, and the height is 37. So I'm going to put 47 here. No. So now I'm putting this here, right? So I can zoom a little bit and put it there. So now I can put this a little bit because we need some space between space. Always put space. Space here, space here, space here, space. I want space, okay? And I'm going to repeat myself a lot on this. So I'm going to put the conditional formatting, but the status on this, that would be pretty much the same. Inactive this week, I don't know if it's the same. That it should be paid and but I don't know. It's we will take care of the conditional formatting before. Here I didn't have the conditional formatting here, right? So now I can get rid of this totally. And I have more space for that guy, right? Will be better. Right? So now, look. Boom. Haha. And I even have the conditional formatting works. Look this. So I'm asking you, I got rid of something without getting rid of something, right? Just I put it in the right place. It do the job. I have the color. It makes the thing cleaner. it's better not to have the date first, right? Here I have two dates, I have the invoice dates and then I have the pay dates, which makes sense to have the pay date next the title, next the amounts, and to have the dates of the invoice next the information, right? So you see, I'm getting rid of things, right? So before we go, I want, following things. Yes, I know, get rid of things, but here we have a good example. Why to have, a field with a label just for the status? Okay, we know active, paid. So paid, for example, okay, I like to be paid, so I'm changing here. So, I can change the disregard to paid, and I like to be like dark green, right? So I know this is paid. See, you can use kind of funny things. I can even put that darker. So you see, it's still green, but darker. That means okay. This pops more because it's active. This is greens. It's still good, but it's sped, right? So now, a good-looking layout is sped, okay? If it's sped, right? Why to keep this if it's sped, right? So it should have begun normally. Total amount due. Yeah. So let's change this because that was the thing that was there before on the previous. But I would have changed this, right? I would have changed this to change this to the status. Okay. So how you do this? How you do? I want to get rid of this when it said this. So if it's sped, got rid of it. I don't need it. Sped. Okay. So when it's sped, get rid of this. Don't need, right? So I know when it's sped. Okay. So and this and so we have so much information here at once, right? That we didn't have before, right? And use colors, use tricks like this, the same color but darker or lighter, right? To give more information, right? Here I'm giving two information. Yes, it's an active, it's still good. Green is good, red is bad, blue is normal, orange is warning. This is part of the the culture, right? Of the culture of our society, right? So those colors, right? So before we go, and I want to finish this. Yes, we can put a lot of information in a small amount of space, right? And here, and this is the best example. This example, I have, or here, so this is FileMaker hot prospects in California, right? But if I go there and I add this there, I have even more information. It's FileMaker hot prospect, Fairfield, California, right? If I get rid of this, I don't have California, right? So I put CA, I have California. So you see how we can put in this small amount of this small real estate, I have their departments, their status, the city, states, name, company, status. Whew. In that amount, in that small space, right? So tomorrow we are going to continue how to make the good looking. But I think today was common good, but cool because we, I
Yeah,
show you, I try to explain all the techniques we have. But if we want to resume today's webinar, it's space, put things where they should be, remove what's not necessary, right? And inspire yourself, like I just did here. Where it was but I lost it. Don't remember where it was. Where I put it was there, right? Here. Yeah. So the positioning, how you can remove things from the layouts, and is very important, right? And the icon need to make sense. The buttons need to tell something and give information, or they need to get rid of. We need to get rid of it. So everything you have on the screen needs to have a purpose. No purpose, gone, bye, sayonara. So, see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much, Nick. I'm going to share my screen and run the credits. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!